Okay. Okay, student, this is the second video, Professor Toledo. Okay. Now, let's gonna see a graph that is similar for your assignment. Okay. In this graph, I have the class student, the parent class, and I have here the child class. Okay. Resident student and another child class, commuter student. Similar that you have in your assignment. You have pet, you have dog, and you have cat. Okay. It's the same thing. So if you understand this example, you're going to be able to do your assignment with 100. Okay. Let's going to do that here first. Okay. So now, let's going to focus in the parent class. This is the general class, the parent class. I'm not going to teach you inheritance and polymorphism yet. This is later. After, I guess, module 6, I don't remember well, but later. I'm going to post another video when we're going to be in that module, okay? For now, only what you need for your assignment, week 2. Okay, so you have a parent class, pet. In this class is a student. When you group the common characteristic for a student, all the students have a name, all the students have a major, and then what else? You can implement the setter and the getter for the attribute. The same thing that I did in my previous video, the circle class. You have two attributes, you have two setters and two getters, right? The getter to retrieve the attribute and the setter to modify the attribute, the data for your object. Get and set. This is the parent class. I want to explain you in detail this graph, but I want to give you the general idea what is coming later. So the idea for inheritance is that you're going to have a parent class when you're going to code the common characteristic, the common things. So you don't have to code again everything that is in the parent class. Okay, somehow you're going to inherit everything from the parent class to the subclasses or the child class. Okay, just to give you the general idea. Okay, what do we have here? Resident student and a specific student. And what is the characteristic for this student? Is that this student have to pay for their for dorm costs. Okay, this student live on campus. Okay, they have to pay for dorm costs. So you're gonna see here the setter and the getter related for dorm cost. You don't see anything related to a student. Okay, a student is here, and this is resident student. Later, we're gonna use whatever is here in the resident student. For now, don't worry about that. This is just module 2. Just focus in the child classes because in your assignment, you have to code or pet or cat. That's it. Like resident student, commuter student. That's it. Okay. So we provide the complete graph pet, dog, cat to give you a general idea. That's it. Now you have commuter student. And what is the specific characteristic for commuter student? Parking cost, because this student commute to campus, right? So they have to pay for parking there. Okay. This is why we see here parking cost. Resident student doesn't have parking cost, have dorm cost. Commuter student doesn't have dorm cost, has parking cost. And then the setter and the getter related to the parking cost. That's it. So in your assignment, you will have to code whatever for cat or commuter student and whatever for dog or resident student. So the only thing that you have to implement is create a class. In my case, I'm gonna create resident student. I'm gonna create the attribute or cost. I'm gonna create a constructor and I'm gonna create the getter and the setter. Okay, let's gonna do that now. I hope this video helped you to understand the UML diagrams. And now let's gonna implement this class, similar that you have to do in your homework. Okay, let's gonna do it. Okay, so let's gonna use Eclipse, okay, to match with what we have to do in class. I mentioned before I use IntelliJ, but at Southern New Hampshire University we use Eclipse. I use Eclipse as well, so not a big deal. So let's gonna create a class. In this case, I'm gonna follow exactly what is here. I'm gonna create a class resident student. Okay, so in your assignment, you have pet, you have dog, and you have cat. Assume that this is dog. In my case, resident student. Okay. So name of the class, resident student. Okay, and that's it. I'm not gonna create a main method because this is a class, a template. Okay, a class model, no main method, no driver class. We're gonna see that later. It's finished. Perfect. Okay, and now you don't have to implement for inheritance or polymorphism yet. So just create the class, a simple class. Okay, don't worry about inheritance yet. Okay, so I have the name of the class resident student that match with the class here in the UML diagram, resident student. Now I have here dorm cost. Oh, perfect. I'm gonna code exactly as appear in the UML diagram. You have to do the same thing for your assignment. Code exactly the same name that appear here. Don't modify the variable. Don't modify the method. Don't modify the class. Okay? Exactly. Following the best, okay, industrial standard. In this case, dorm cost. Okay. What data type? Double. Oh, okay, double. Double. They said dorm cost like this. And then what means minus dash private? Okay. Thank you. Private. Perfect. Do I have to implement another attribute? Hey, name major. No, no, no. This is for a student, the parent class. We're going to focus now in the subclass. Okay? Just code whatever appears here in the UML diagram. Don't cost double. Okay, I complete the attribute. Perfect. What else? The constructor. Oh, constructor. How can I implement the constructor? The constructor have the same name as the class, but open and close parentheses, right? This is the default constructor. So let's gonna start implementing the online inline comments. Okay, you can set here, you can do dash dash, or you can use slash asterisk, and you can set this is the resident student class. Okay, you can set here this is the default constructor, and you can implement now the overloaded constructor. How it's gonna be the overloaded constructor? Okay, dorm post. Okay, that is gonna be what type? Double. Okay, I don't remember if you have to do that in this week or not, but I'm gonna take advantage of that. So you're gonna get familiar with that. I'm gonna use that this operator. When you type this and type dot, you're gonna see the attribute. Oh, don't cost, perfect. Equal, I gonna, with the overloader constructor, you are gonna receive whatever is inside the parentheses and take that value and assign to the attribute, to your object. This is that you have to do always with the overloader constructor. Receive whatever you have inside the parentheses, because this is a parameter that you're going to receive when you call the constructor, and now assign to the attribute. How do we know that we are assigning to the attribute? Because when you use that this operator, you are gonna make sure that you are assigning that value to the object that you are using. Okay? So this is a trick that I guess, I don't know if this week or later we're gonna talk about that, but I would like to introduce you that now. So if you don't type this, you're gonna get an error because don't cost is a variable, not the attribute. So in this case, NetBeans doesn't want to know that you are referring, hey, which one is the attribute? Which one is that? However, if you type this, Now, let's Eclipse knows that you are modifying the attribute. Java knows that you are modifying the attribute with the value here. But you see, you don't need to create additional variable, right? See that? You can use the same name, but it's not the attribute. Okay? Of course, you can put here dorm, I'm gonna say dorm cost student, whatever name you want in the variable. Okay? It's just a variable. Whatever you receive in this variable, you are gonna update the attribute here. Okay? Doesn't matter the name that you put here. The standard said that you can use, you're gonna see in the code when you work, the developer code like this. Why? Because somehow these tools allow you to generate the code automatically. Later, I'm gonna cover that. Okay? So for now, you can put dorm cost or you can put, for example, dorm cost student, whatever here. The thing, the important thing that you have to do is assign whatever you are receiving here in the constructor to the attribute. So now, since you have different names, you don't need to use this. This is the best practice. But if you don't want to use that now, it's okay. But later you will have to use. Okay? You can use like that. Dorm cost, another variable, assigning to the attribute. As you see now the change, the color changed, right? Now it's blue. Before was a little weird, the color, right? Because Eclipse tell you, hey, I don't know which one is the attribute. But now everything is okay. So with recap, you can use the variable, the attribute here, don't cost, and here put a variable with different name, okay? And you're gonna be safe. Other thing is that to code more elegant, you use this, okay? Now, if you wanna code better, elegant, doesn't impact in your code, just visibility, okay? You're gonna see the standard code like this. A little confused, but this door cost is not the attribute. As you see, door cost here, the attribute is blue color. Here, have another color. And now see here, door cost is blue with a this operator, and door cost here have the same color that is inside the parentheses. Okay? But if you don't wanna confuse, don't use this for now, and here for another variable called door cost student, for example. Okay? And you can put here, this is the overloader constructor, right? This is the overloaded constructor or constructor with parameters. Okay. And now here, the getter and the setter, right? Okay. Getter. Okay. The getter is going to be public, right? Why public? Getter is public, the plus get don't cost. Public get don't cost, right? And what is the characteristic of this method that return the attribute? This method return door cost. What type of data type is door cost? Double. So you have to put here that you're going to return a double because you're going to return the attribute. And now here, just return the name of your attribute. So you can type door cost or just to show that you understand what mean that this operator and object-oriented programming, you can type here this. You are telling, hey, just in case you are going to retrieve the current attribute using this. If you don't type this again, for now it's okay. Now, don't cause match with the attribute. So no problem at all. Okay, don't worry. You can code like this for now. And then you can tell here. Is this the getter or accessor? Okay, accessor, I guess, like this. Sorry, typo, right? Okay, now let's gonna see the setter or mutator. The setter or mutator. Okay, let's gonna call the setter or Oh, let me fix that the typo. Sorry, I didn't accept it. Okay. Why? I don't know. Really weird. Okay. Or mutator. So how is gonna be the getter or mutator? Did you see the UML diagram? Set don't cost. I'm gonna type the same thing. Public. Why public, professor? Because it's a plus. Oh, plus means public. Minus dash means private. I got it. So public set don't cost. Set don't cost. And what is the parameter? C. Okay. Parenthesis. C. What type of data type is the parameter? Double. Oh, okay. Double. See that? Easy, right? Just follow the UML diagram. Okay. Public, and it's gonna return a double, an integer. What is gonna return? No, professor, remember, setter mutator doesn't return any value. There are void methods. See here the UML diagram. Hey, professor, you forgot that. Sorry. See that void. Oh, okay. So I have to type here void. All the setter mutator are gonna be void. Okay. Public void set don't cost. And now, what is your job? Don't cost typo is gonna be equal what? C, right? Whatever we are receiving here. In this example, I force you to have a weird variable C, just to force you to code exactly what appears here in the UML diagram. In your case, you will have to code exactly what appears in your UML diagram. Okay? As you see, I create the class with the attributes. You have to do the same thing with cat or with dog. Dog. Then I create a constructor with parameter or without parameter, right? Default constructor and overloaded constructor. You have to do the same thing in your assignment for dog and or cat. And I create the getter and the setter. You have to do the same thing for dog and cat. And also, I implement that inline comments that you have to do in your homework. So I cover everything for your assignment. So go for 100. Okay. Thank you. I hope this video helped.